We are frequently overcome with feelings of inadequacy when we examine the paths taken by significant and accomplished individuals like Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, Albert Einstein, Nelson Mandela, and several other historical personalities. Their lives appear to be full of amazing accomplishments, tremendous acts, and an undeniable purpose, but ours can appear to be modest and impactless. But we sometimes forget that the significance of a life is not just determined by significant accomplishments or international renown, but also by the little things we do every day, the struggles we all confront within, and the never-ending pursuit of self-awareness and personal development. Like them, we are able to tread a road of significance, but ours is distinct, molded by the failures we overcome, the shadows we absorb, and the times when we decide to act in spite of our fears. Carl Jung addressed the pursuit of self-awareness and significance in a number of his writings. Jung argues that the meaning of life is more about who you are and how you behave than it is about what you do. According to Jung, the complete human person may be characterized by the psyche, which includes both conscious and unconscious elements. The ego is at the core of our awareness, which encompasses all of our knowledge and recognition. However, we are unaware of a lot that exists outside of the ego. Our shadow, or evil side, is in the core of our unconscious, which stands for all that is concealed from us. According to Jung, the secret to understanding our life's purpose is hidden in our unconscious. This is due to the fact that your life's goal is neither universal nor objective. It's something special and unique to you. Swiss psychiatrist and psychotherapist Carl Jung eventually established analytical psychology, his own branch of psychology. Jungian philosophy is a common term used to describe his ideas. The psychology of the unconscious, man and his symbols, archetypes, and the collective unconscious, modern man, seeking a soul. The psychology of transference, memories, dreams, reflections, and the connection between the ego and the unconscious are among the significant works he also published. According to Carl Jung's theory, we'll look at the actions you need to do in order for your dark side to disclose your life's purpose in this video. According to Jung, every individual has a distinct meaning and purpose in life based on their identity and desires. Therefore, before attempting to determine your life's mission, you must truly comprehend yourself. Many people think they have a good understanding of themselves. You could be tempted to go right into discovering your purpose since you feel as though you know your traits, desires, and talents and shortcomings. But in order to truly understand who you are, you must experience what Jung referred to as self-realization. There are conscious and unconscious components in every human being, the parts of ourselves that we are conscious of and the parts that we are not. The hidden area of our unconscious that contains suppressed urges, feelings, and traits is known as the shadow or dark side. For instance, your shadow may include activities or pastimes that you feel guilty about or believe you should have mastered by now, as well as sentiments of indolence, jealousy, or rage. We frequently don't realize what the shadow is since it lives in the unconscious. For so long, these characteristics have been suppressed and disregarded that they no longer come to mind. Rather, we have a tendency to over-identify with our persona, the part we unconsciously play to get others' approval or admiration. When we engage with the outside world, this identity functions as a mask, and we can wear several masks depending on the circumstance. Making a sincere attempt is necessary to reconnect with your shadow. Practicing what Jung referred to as shadow work, or getting to know your dark side, entails pausing frequently to consider your actions, feelings, and ideas in day-to-day living. Writing in a notebook or practicing meditation are two ways to do this. Why did I behave in the manner that I did? Was it genuine? Why not? What was my initial reaction in a certain circumstance? If the positions were reversed, how would I feel? You seem to be asking yourself the same questions that you would ask someone else. Knowing your shadow does not equate to connecting with it, according to Jung. The traits it often conceals don't have to define who you are. For instance, you don't have to think of yourself as furious if your shadow is angry. Rather, it's sufficient to acknowledge and accept the presence of these characteristics, to comprehend that they are a part of you, but do not entirely define you. Judging other people is another way that your shadow's hidden characteristics frequently show out. The traits or actions you find repulsive in other people are frequently the ones you are afraid of in yourself. We refer to this as projection. Therefore, if you are annoyed or upset over someone's actions, stop and think, have I ever been like this before? Why not? Could my own shadow be traced here? Jung argues that those who are intolerant of others' impatience may be battling their own impatient impulses, and those who condemn selfishness severely may suppress their own selfish ideas. The first step in bringing the unconscious into awareness and learning about yourself is setting aside some time each day to sit down, write in a notebook, and ask yourself these challenging questions. Exploring your shadow on a regular basis is crucial to getting closer to living a meaningful existence. According to Jung, my goal is to be a full man rather than a decent guy. You could be asking yourself, how can I make my life better now that I know more about my unconscious and maybe some less desirable shadow traits? Since you can no longer disregard all of your negative aspects, you could even feel worse after coming to this self-realization. Jung understood that the process of realizing one's true self is incredibly terrifying and terrible. Many individuals think that the only approach to completely eradicate their negative traits is to suppress them and never display them. Ultimately, aren't the most compassionate individuals those who are able to control their anger? And aren't the most productive individuals those who conquer their indolence? Indeed, but also no. Although wanting to improve is admirable, ignoring your characteristics won't make them go away. They often gain more power when dark qualities are suppressed. They stay dormant inside of you and suddenly erupt when you're worn out, anxious, or tense. Those who occasionally experience scary outbreaks of fury are the same people who are unaware of their wrath. People who disregard their indolence eventually experience burnout. Something doesn't go away if you ignore it. You may finally take action with your shadow now that you are aware of it. Utilize these qualities to your benefit, regardless of what you discover in your shadow. For instance, anger is only harmful when it is out of proportion or excessive. However, rage might help you protect yourself when someone truly damages you. You should ask yourself whether it's okay to act on an emotion and when it's preferable to refrain from doing so. Is it necessary for me to rely on my character and disguise, and when is it not? Your life and well-being will significantly improve if you give your feelings more thought rather than categorizing them as good or negative. Envy may serve as a motivation. You may get the rest you require by being lazy. If the situation is appropriate, impatience might increase your level of activity. Put another way, instead of disregarding what you find in your shadow, you must figure out how to incorporate it into your personality. Your shadow exists to teach you, not to punish you. These suppressed characteristics will persist. Furthermore, you can only truly better yourself if you accept and value your shadow traits. Finding your life's purpose requires self-awareness and the capacity to utilize all facets of who you are. You become more of yourself after your shadow is absorbed. You'll be more harmonic, balanced, and genuine. Knowing how to use your shadow can help you find who you truly are, which will make it a lot simpler to determine what you need and desire out of life. Working with the never-ending shadow can also be accomplished via self-improvement. There's always room for improvement. You are giving your life purpose when you keep improving yourself. You are what you do, not what you promise to do, according to Jung. You have to show that you know who you are, how to deal with your dark sides, and what you believe. Jung felt that self-realization must be demonstrated by deeds rather than words, and that the meaning of life cannot be found alone in thoughts. After all, if you act in a certain manner, you can only claim to be that way and desire certain things. This implies that you should not lead a reactive life, but rather take initiative and stop responding to events as they occur. Go out and create friends rather than waiting for others to approach you. Make a strategy and follow it rather than waiting for a promotion. Additionally, make your life significant by your activities rather than waiting for it to take on the meaning you desire. Even those of us who deliberately work to examine our shadows and better ourselves live reactive lives these days. Naturally, improving oneself is a fantastic first step, but it is insufficient to begin taking action in other spheres of life. In fact, you may believe that you may finally unwind after working with your shadow. However, stagnation in life is what ensnares you in a senseless state. Yes, but how do you begin to live an active life? Just by pushing yourself, following the actions you've made to continuously examine your shadow and make improvements based on your findings. You should also keep doing a few more actions. Ask yourself often, what do I think? What religious or spiritual beliefs? What moral standards? Which values? How do I behave every day? What am I hoping to accomplish this year and within the next 5 years? How can I make a difference in the world? What can I anticipate from other people? You can write or think on these questions. The responses provide unmistakable hints about the appropriate course of action. For instance, you could wish to publish your writing. A lot of folks do. However, many of these individuals do nothing to accomplish this objective. They finally think that the book will write itself after waiting for inspiration and a more peaceful period. They continue to live in a reactive manner. They believe the book will flow when the moment is perfect. However, it isn't the case. What has to change for someone who genuinely wants to become an author? Whether or not he is motivated, an ambitious writer who acts often completes his work on time. They actively look for activities or suggestions to help them get beyond obstacles. He completes a narrative out of discipline rather than inspiration. He then makes proactive contact with literary agents and other individuals in the publishing sector. Career objectives, of course, are meaningless to many. Rather, their own perspectives on life could be more abstract. For instance, you may wish to have a beneficial impact on the younger generation. There are several ways to accomplish this. Among other options, one may become a parent, teacher, youth counselor, politician, or founder of an NGO for youth. You must choose how you wish to accomplish this objective and what steps are required. You must choose how to strive toward your values and beliefs and what steps to take each time you ask yourself these questions. Reactive living can help you survive, but it cannot help you discover purpose in your life. Action is necessary for meaning. According to a quote from Jung, your duty is where your fear is. Laziness, and frequently even a lack of drive, are not the only factors contributing to people's reactive lifestyles. Fear is the primary cause of action avoidance most of the time. Risk is necessary for action, yet it may be frightening. In order to put your book concept on paper, you must risk becoming dissatisfied with your own work. If you wish to publish the book once it is written, you can expect to receive a lot of rejections. Everything you do has the potential to go wrong. Being active requires bravery. Fearlessness is not a prerequisite for courage. Avoiding fear is not an option. Ignoring it will cause it to revert to its shadow and take even more power over your life. Rather, it needs to be acknowledged. Consider what may go wrong and how you might handle it if you are presented with a necessary activity, yet feel unequipped to do it. Preparation may frequently help manage fear, but it should not be mistaken for ruminating or feeling anxious. Don't focus on wild possibilities, only likely situations. If you want to publish a book, be ready for many agencies to reject it or for no one to want to represent you at all. However, you should also be ready to find an agency or publish it yourself. Don't waste time worrying about being mocked, having your concept stolen, or receiving constant rejections. These ideas are implausible and useless. You will have conquered a large portion of your fear by examining it and preparing for it. The only thing left to do is to plunge in, even if the terror may never really go away after you've taken all the necessary precautions. To be courageous, you must confront your anxieties rather than attempting to overcome them. Nobody who has accomplished anything noteworthy in life has done it by staying away from what scared them. According to Jung, your next work is where your fear resides. When you identify your fears, you also identify what will likely make your life meaningful. Our final quotation from Jung is that even a joyful life must have some darkness, and that the word happy would be meaningless without grief. Let's consider it. You are aware of who you are, always working on yourself, taking initiative, and taking chances. Is it the formula for the ideal life? No. No one's life is flawless. In actuality, those who have faced the greatest challenges tend to be the most powerful individuals in the world. And the reason for it is because they are the ones that take the biggest chances. They don't allow setbacks deter them and never give up. Finding meaning and purpose in life requires accepting the unpleasant and disappointing aspects of it. Meaning actually relies on it, because joy only has an impact when it is accompanied by melancholy. A life that is solely filled with victories and joys is not significant. It is impossible to succeed if losing is not a possibility. Darkness cannot contain any light. This implies that you must always put negative events in perspective. Instead of giving up, believe that everything that goes well from now on will be even better. In addition to placing the positive aspects of life in perspective, misfortune and errors provide chances for development. Every event you experience teaches you something new about who you are. Therefore, negative experiences are necessary for self-discovery. Additionally, they are helpful for understanding your shadow. No one realizes they are strong and resilient unless something in their life has called for it. And no one realizes they need to be more pragmatic unless they have failed at it at some time. Imagine that every publisher you submit your manuscript to rejects it, or if you left a reliable career to return to school and fail. Of course, you can now appreciate the positive things that happen to you since you have greater perspective. You've gained knowledge, but does it make your life more purposeful? According to Jung, taking action and discovering who you are what give life meaning, not reaching your goals. He is saying that becoming a successful politician or published novelist doesn't make your life any more meaningful. Because of what you accomplished to get there, it takes on significance. Therefore, even those who are unable to reach them now understand that they are the type of individuals who act. The most important aspect about them is that they are distinct and unquestionably themselves. It never stops adding purpose to your existence. You must continue to identify your objectives and take action. You will keep having both positive and negative experiences, and it is the reason your life is so unique. Your distinct blend of setbacks and victories, your deeds and endeavors, and your perseverance. Always take pride in your efforts. That is the source of purpose. Lastly, be grateful for everything that you have in your life. Be proud of your accomplishments, no matter how small or large. Be appreciative of whatever comes your way. And as long as you are being your best self, realize that your life has meaning regardless of what occurs.